2025. Commissioners in attendance, we have George Bacon as member, Jessica Gino as member clerk, Mark Phillips, vice chair, Heather Hampson is our conservation agent, Jana Maya is where, Norway or what? Yeah, so she won't be here this evening. My name is John Schmullenberger, the chair. Confirmation of agenda?
We will have a continuance when we get to the MBTA, but for right now, there's no changes.
Okay. Motion to approve the agenda, the agenda as written.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passes unanimously. Approval of the meeting minutes for February 11th, 2025. Everyone had an opportunity to read the conservation, these were the Conservation Commission.
That was the joint meeting.
Oh, it's a joint meeting, that's correct, yeah.
Yep.
Ready to read the joint meeting minutes? Any changes?
I have it very well detailed. Thank you, Jeff.
It's therapeutic for me these days.
Motion to approve the meeting minutes for February 11th, 2025 as written.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Passes unanimously. Is there a motion to approve the meeting minutes for February 13th, 2025? Or I should say, as everyone had an opportunity to read the minutes.
I did.
And no changes?
Only thing,
Uh-oh.
it's Lincoln Hills. It's the fields that are doing it, but the project is called Lincoln Hills.
As amended. Corrected.
I just
Corrected even
I just don't need
indicates.
anybody to read it and think that we're calling a different project that's up before the plate, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So just to make sure they all match.
Good catch.
That was a good one.
It's the first page.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking at the wrong one.
Yeah, so you have Lincoln Heights there, which should be Lincoln Hill, but that's, I mean, it's still close enough, it's not Fields, that's all.
Lincoln.
It's Lincoln Hills.
Well, you know, I think it's been changed around.
It's been changed around, but at least in that one, we'll have it,
Okay. So I'll send you a. Oh, actually, you just
yeah.
you can have. I'll send you a new front page.
Yeah, but you have the same, just do a search, thank you.
So, motion to approve the meeting minutes for February 13th, 2025, that was corrected.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passes unanimously.
Yeah, corrected is better than amended because it really highlights that
I made a
an error.
mistake, yep.
We all love that, Jess. We do. I don't know why. It's the time of our meeting this for public input. If there's anyone out there who is not on the agenda, who has a comment or a question, now's the time. Seeing none, then we will move on. First item this evening is a discussion, conservation restriction monitoring report of Autumn Ridge. Good evening, gentlemen.
Where are you?
Hi, everybody. Nice to see you again.
See you all too. I'm here for my annual visit.
Yep.
I believe it's been a year already.
I know, it doesn't hardly seem possible.
Pass these around.
Thank you.
So I'll just go through the report as normal. Ask any questions. Conservation restriction.
I can hold this one, yep.
Yeah, why don't we hold this up, because otherwise it's gonna wrinkle and make noise here, and you can talk into those, that'll be better,
Oh, okay.
all right?
So this is Old Air Road here, Snake Hill Road. This is the entrance road to the Autumn Ridge Village. The conservation restriction has 4 zones. A zone is the woods and the pond. And that's pretty much let Mother Nature have her way. Zone B allows farming. So that's the part that's hayed. Zone C is a collar around the village, which is pretty much the same as B, but allows some improvements. For example, gazebos or picnic tables, which there is one here. And there's one here too, like that. So that's generally how the conservation restriction is laid out.
It was 4 zones?
Yeah.
Or, oh, and
And
the fourth zone is the
Yeah.
village itself.
Yeah, we're
Oh,
the back.
building
And it's
envelope.
pretty much unrestricted, except by the rules
Yep.
of the condo association. And the 5th page in your package has a map. It's a more accurate map for trails. And it shows my routes that I followed in my monitoring work. Different dates and different activities. But this route map is more or less clustered this year compared to previous years. Previous years I go further afield, do more boundaries. I didn't do that this year, partly because I'm getting old. And I don't have the balance and the oomph to do the bushwhacking that's required. So that might limit me for future years too, unless I get my mojo back. So the report says, I am the volunteer steward of this conservation restriction. The restriction was established March 31, 2005, and baseline documentation was completed in 2010, with 5-year photo updates completed in 2015 and 2020. 2025 should be the year of another set of complete photos. I haven't done that yet. It still requires a lot of bushwhacking. Well, I don't know if I'll get to it. We'll see. I'll try. I did the field work in late 24 and early 25. 6 Autumn Ridge residents accompanied me on the January 18th walk. They and other Autumn Ridge residents contributed to the wildlife sightings in item 3. And the attached map shows my routes and dates. I give a list of the trustees of Autumn Ridge Farm. It has not changed since last year. Everybody, I presented this to the board. When was that, Chuck? 2 weeks ago? Yes. Which is part of my role, is to get the ownership to agree with my report before I bring it to you. Yep. So they did. And I show here also the address and contact information for the management company of the condo association, Evergreen Harvard Group. So, item 1, 2024, I didn't catch that mistake,
Yeah.
was a year of below average rain and water level in Rock Meadow Pond. Birds and wildlife were present, but not in the numbers of previous year. New wildlife sighted this year includes, we think, a Canadian lynx and a family of hedgehogs. Complete list of birds and wildlife is provided in item 3 below. I'll call your attention to the pictures. On the second page of pictures, the bottom one, it's a hedgehog. Chuck is responsible for many of these pictures. Chuck Francis, here with me tonight. He's convinced that's a hedgehog.
There was 5 of them, all around Smith Pond. I thought they were muskrats because the mother muskrat was swimming across the pond and came out right where the 5 were, but the 5 were just frozen, staring at me. They were 10 feet apart, and I looked them up and I said, those are hedgehogs, but they're not from this country. They're imported from England. People get them as pets, then they don't handle them well anymore because they work at night, the hedgehogs do. So they let them loose. So somebody, not from our area, let them loose and they all showed up around the pond. I don't know how they'd survive the winter being so cold.
And you saw 5 of them?
5 of them.
And some were littles?
Huh?
Some were little?
They're all little,
I mean, like little, like young, or just little in size?
young. They were, like a kitten, a large kitten,
Yeah.
not a cat, a kitten. And they just curled up in a ball and they didn't move. And they were 10 feet apart. So as I was walking around the pond, I kept looking back. I said, I just saw that. And there was another one, and another, just about 10 feet apart for each of them.
That's kind of exciting, but is it? I mean,
Well, I didn't know what they were at first.
yeah. Should they be here? Don't know.
So,
Okay.
they're native to UK,
Yeah.
but we think we got some.
Hmm.
Down on the last page of pictures, you'll see, I don't know if you looked at these pictures on your computer. I asked Heather to forward this to you so you could use these, look at these pictures. But there's a bobcat, 1, 2, 3rd down. A bobcat, we thought, until we looked closer and did a comparison side by side for the Canadian lynx. And we think we have a Canadian lynx.
The legs look longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're very rare in Massachusetts,
Mm-hmm.
but there've been a couple sightings reported in Groton.
They
And
were
they do,
behind the hospital for a long time.
Yeah,
When the
Oh.
hospital closed up.
it's a lot quieter so they can move around, yeah.
and there are populations in Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. Not so much Massachusetts. I did talk to my Fish and Wildlife retiree out in Western Mass. He works on the Appalachian Trail with me. And he said, there's a hybrid. Canadian lynx and bobcat. It's called Bobo lynx, not to be confused with bird. I sent him these pictures, and he said it could be a hybrid,
Mm-hmm.
So, very interesting. We had lots of fun looking at the comparisons, looking at the legs and the tail and the number of spots. Yeah. Lynx has fewer spots than the bobcat, and it's got bigger feet. It's got like snowshoe feet.
Hmm.
You couldn't see it too well in this picture, so we're not sure. Have you seen the Tom Hanks narrated
Yeah.
America's shows?
Yeah, they just did the.
Yep.
The Great North last week.
Yeah, in the Great North, they had a Canadian lynx chasing a horseshoe hare.
Yeah.
And they both had, snowshoe feet. And the lynx had woolly hair.
Mm-hmm.
This is summertime coat, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Ha! Interesting. Lots of fun with our animals. Number 2 in the report. I reported the beaver deceiver malfunction in September 2023. Heather is following up with the contractor. Repair of this device is still pending,
They
right?
said they fixed it.
He did fix it?
Mm-hmm.
He did fix it.
Mhm.
When was that?
That same year, so it should have been fixed.
Oh. Well, this 24 was not a good
No, it was very.
not a good year to test it.
No.
Because the water was
So
low.
yeah, the water was low.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah, and we were still in that drought too. So.
I thought last year at this time you said you had to get money from town meeting to fund.
Oh, I was afraid I would have to, but no, we were able to, because it was a broken device, so it's covered under our maintenance contract, so they were able to just go out and fix it.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
We noted a new beaver lodge in Rock Meadow Pond on the backside of the lower pond, away from the dam. We think this new beaver lodge was needed to replace the old one, which got flooded in high water. At Smith Pond, the beavers stayed away. The water level was full. Wildlife activity was much less, however. A family of hedgehogs was photographed by Chuck Francis. New beaver dam construction was noted at the lower end of Meadowbrook. It's on this map. Right here, near the village. It was there was a beaver dam there in 2005. But this swamp didn't generate much water, so the beavers gave up on it. But in 2023, they started again,
Because of all the rain.
but they quit in 24. Just don't have enough water.
Yeah.
This wildlife listing is getting kind of cluttered now because I show the wildlife and all the years we've cited them. This year is interesting. We only had one sighting of a black bear. It's actually not on the conservation restriction. It was on Snake Hill Road near my sister's house. She saw it. But nobody at Autumn Ridge reported seeing a bear. Bobcats were seen, snapping turtles, woodchucks, skunks, red fox, deer. I don't know if you saw it online, but the photo of this deer is just exquisite.
Mm-hmm.
It is a really nice photo when you get it on the screen. The detail of the features of the deer, the hair, the coloring, the ears, the nose, just perfect. It's just wonderful. John Marion took that photo. He also took the photo of the Canadian lynx. You got possums, cottontail rabbits, gray squirrels, red squirrels, chipmunks, porcupines, Canadian lynx, hedgehog. And we had our red-tailed hawks and tons of birds. And we had what's the name of that bird that comes every year? The nest in a tree?
Osprey.
Osprey. Getting old. Osprey was
They've been
back.
here for 10 years, keep coming back. I
Yeah.
didn't think they lived that long, or they came back that often, but I've been here 10 years, and they've been here every year since I've been here.
Yeah, they'll nest in the same place.
Yeah.
The nest got torn down by winds a couple of years ago, and they moved to the center of the pond.
Nice.
You got herons, crows, Canadian geese, mallard ducks.
What's a phoebe? I've never
What'd you
heard
say?
that. What's a phoebe?
That's a bird.
I've never seen that.
What's a phoebe, Chuck? What does it look like, you know?
What?
What does a phoebe look like?
Not sure.
There you go.
Somebody reported it.
Looks like a nuthatch, no?
Yeah, a little
Similar.
bit. Similar.
Or like almost a titmouse.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
mix up more of the point.
Is it so?
Yeah, so I just Google everything, but yeah.
Yeah.
There's a phoebe.
Yeah.
You gotta put in the. Yeah, the titmouse looks. It's got the point in it, right?
The 2% of the
Yeah,
point.
yeah. Okay.
I was thinking more of the chest, but yeah.
Yeah, the chest does, yeah. No,
To put in
chest-
bird, or else you end up with a whole bunch of women. So.
You can do Phoebe bird and then you get
Phoebe
it.
buffet. Like, no.
Yeah, you do Phoebe bird and you get it. Google stuff all the time.
No hunter interactions were reported. The no hunting signs stayed in place. Were installed. Basically, there's no hunting on from this boundary up through the village. Down here, in the public access part of the CR, we observe the same hunting restrictions that the conservation restriction has on the airland.
Mm-hmm.
So deer hunting in deer season,
Mm-hmm.
basically. That's it. Power company was not active in autumn ridge land in 23 or 24, but the board has been informed that there will be work, unspecified work, in 2025. But they have, they kill the bushes with herbicides, and they trim big trees on the edges. Accompanying me on the field work trips this year were John Marion, Deb Daly, Diane Stedman, Keith Frederick, Bill Strickland, and Peg Pfeiffer. And you'll see in the pictures, the first one is the group of people that accompanied me in front of Chimney Rock. Trail work on Autumn Ridge is done by a resident crew, and Chuck continues to be the resident leader of the trail crew. In 2024, we held a group trail work day on May 18th. It worked out very well. The trails were in good shape to start the summer hiking season. We did clipping and raking and chainsaw work. In August, this 24, a trail inspection revealed that signs and blazes had deteriorated in many locations. Chuck made some new, better, double laminated signs, and I installed them in August and September. So we've got some nice new signs. 2025 will include some refresh of places. So says the pair that's probably gonna make it happen.
The conservation team that I lead used to be all men and a couple of women. Now it's almost all women. The men have gotten old. The women coming in are younger and more athletic. They're like mountain goats when they're climbing up these hills. But they're finding things and they're help to clean up much faster and longer than we can do it.
Women are taking over the world. The news of 2024 is bouldering. Number 10. Previously reported bouldering by recreationists has surged in 2024. Several boulders on Autumn Ridge Farm and Ayer land have been named with multiple routes called out. If you Google Ayer boulders on your computer, there's a whole spread. Provides an interesting website detailing all the boulders. The only exception to proper recreational use is a log rack constructed at the chimney boulder to hold the cushioned mattresses used by the boulderers. You see in the very last picture,
Yeah.
the last two pictures of the log rack, the little chimney boulder. The reason was that there was no good place for the mattresses. So the boulderers used all dead wood. They gathered dead logs, and they didn't use any nails or ropes. They just laid them in a fashion to build it up. And technically it's a violation of the CR because no structures allowed in that Zone D.
I was walking through there last fall, and there was a group of young men out there climbing.
Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. I just got curious who they were. I don't have any idea who they are.
They're part of they call it the Mountain Project. It's a New England-wide thing. And they have rock climbing sites all over. Of course, some very important ones like the Cannon Cliffs and North Conway Cliffs. But they also have the Ayer Boulders.
Is that technically on Autumn Ridge land, or is that on Ayer?
It's on Autumn Ridge.
On Autumn Ridge. That's what I thought.
They climb the big glacial erratic on Pine Meadow Pond
Yep.
land also.
Okay. Yep.
And they have a rock on the power line on David Leidy's land, and also on Washington Street. There's some cliffs
Yep.
just after you go by the power lines. Cliffs to the right. That's on their
Up there.
website too. So, in discussion at the board meeting with Autumn Ridge, they didn't want me to get too picky with these people. I was gonna contact them and ask them to tear it down. They said, well, why don't you just let them know we've noticed it and would like no more. I don't know what you think.
No more what?
No more structures.
Well, do they move it, or does it just stay there?
It just stays it.
So
Chimney
there
pot.
could, the argument could be made that eventually it actually would there's a form of wildlife habitat that is just a mound of sticks like that, because chipmunks and squirrels and stuff will actually hide in there, use it as habitat. So you can argue that they created a wildlife habitat when they're not using it for mattresses on it. So you can make that argument on there,
That's
on
a
that
thought,
side of
yeah.
it.
It's a good
They
thought.
built it on Porcupine Hill. That was
Yeah.
rocks
So yeah,
where the
porcupine. You know what I mean? A
porcupines-
porcupine could probably, you know what I mean? Something could winter over in it, use it as like a hibernation thing in the winter, and then they use. So I don't. To see no more, yeah, but to leave that
Yeah.
one, I'm like, eventually when they abandon the whole process, it'll just get turned over.
But you know, the telltale sign that the boulders have been there is,
Chalk.
what?
Chalk.
Just the chalk.
Chalk, exactly. Yeah. And I went in August, the rocks were covered with chalk. And it's interesting, the names of the roots and the boulders. I don't know if I have them with me. I guess not. But they have the trash can boulder, the chimney boulder, the
A little
Petrol
slice
pond
of heaven.
boulder.
A little slice of heaven.
Yeah,
Avery cracks.
Yeah.
Blue blaze. Bullfrog.
yeah. There you
Double
go.
roof. Indian headdress.
Yeah.
Kodak crag. Perpetual pond.
Yeah.
Power line boulder. I wonder where that one is.
It's right where the trail goes
I
into.
know. It's by the power lines. Yeah, and then they have Trash Can Science Trail, Rod and Gun Club. Yeah.
So do you agree with the contact them, let them know? They have an administrator on that website. Haven't been able to contact the person yet, but I could contact them and just say, we've noted it and we'll tolerate it, but we'd like no more.
Yeah, I think that'd be fair. When you
Yeah.
think about other conservation land, right, we say no disturbance. Technically, picking up the wood and moving it around is disturbing,
Yeah.
right? So, but yeah, I think that would be fair. You know.
Can you ask them, if you contact them, can you ask them if they can get chalk that's not white, like gray, the color of rock?
Gray chalk.
So it's not so in your face. I mean, it's plastered,
Yeah.
white. It doesn't look
Pretty
natural.
obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
After rain, it's gone though, correct? No.
That hangs on.
Hmm.
I mean, I know why they do it. It's because it shows you where the handholds are, so people coming after you can follow you. But I don't like the look of it.
Well, I think it's more because their hands are sweaty.
Well, I know, yeah, exactly.
To get the grip.
Right. But it doesn't leave the rock.
It washes off. It does wash off. He was gone in January.
Yeah. No, in January. Yeah.
Number 11, no encroachments of any kind were noticed during 2024 by campers, by builders, motorcycles, motorbikes, or boaters. Number 12, we observed 2 geocaching sites this year, which is a decrease from 4 at the peak. There's only one left at the observation point, and the one at the lower Beaver Dam is gone. The one on the easier trail is still there. Haying and mowing of the fields in zones B and C was again conducted by David Eliades and Richard Smith. Trail mowing in the power line crossings is done by me. Just going through the pictures. The first picture is the conservation walk on January 18th. And the group that went with me. The second picture is an actual geocaching box open to show the goodies that are in it. We put it back all together and put it back in its place. The third picture is the geocaching. It's a ammunition box just off the Easier Trail. That's Diane Stedman, who's our female mountain goat. The next is the new kiosk at the head trailhead. Chuck populated it with all kinds of great photos, all our wildlife photos from
Thank you.
so long.
That's great. All grouped together and everything too.
The next one is a picture of 4 lady
Hi.
slippers all in a row. Quite beautiful. John Marion caught them at the base of the chimney boulders. And the next one's an owl perched in a tree, Autumn Ridge.
Is that a great horned?
Yeah.
The next one is the behind of a bobcat going into the woods. And a possum, and a porcupine, a red fox. This
Fox
is
looks healthy.
This is a heron, not an osprey. It's labeled an osprey, but it's a heron.
An osprey nest.
Then there's the new beaver hut. What'd you do? Take that with a telephoto lens? Yeah,
That's a new one. That's a pretty big house they made.
pretty good picture. Then the hedgehog.
Oh gosh, weird.
We had a Cooper hawk, teal deer, the Canadian lynx with the comparison slide, and the 2 log structures. So Heather, did you send this to the members?
Mm-hmm.
So you've got these on your computer to enjoy in full size.
Size, yeah, they're beautiful.
So that's it.
Well, thank you very much, as usual.
You're welcome.
Very well presented.
It's a labor of love, really. I told the board that I've had more fun in those woods since we sold the land. Or just working with the trails and the people and
Yeah.
the wildlife. It's really fun.
I hike in there quite a bit. It's a beautiful, beautiful area.
What'd you say?
See, I hike in there very bit. Or quite a bit. It's a beautiful area.
I try to get out there.
It is truly a wonderful habitat,
Mm-hmm.
like the trail name says. Yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
So you want me to continue?
Please, as long as you want to.
Yeah, it won't be too much longer, I don't think.
I would have joined you when you guys went out on the 18th, but we had a site visit somewhere else in town that day, so
Oh,
I
yeah.
was like, I'm not spending an hour with them in the morning, and then, I'm done.
Okay,
Thank you, Steve.
Thanks.
see you
Thanks
next
so much.
year. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Thanks, Chuck.
Okay, next item this evening is an RDA 91 Littleton Road for the decommissioning of an existing septic system and the install of a new water service to existing main and install a tight tank within the 100-foot buffer zone and 200-foot riverfront area. Good evening, how are you?
Good. Good evening, everybody.
Nice to see you again.
Nice to see everybody.
Yeah.
Of
You want to tell us about your project?
course, I'm here tonight. Lim Hotib, project engineer at Goldsmith Press and Ringwall, GPR for short. I'm here tonight as a representative for Chris Morin, who is the landowner and the applicant for 91 Littleton Road, which is where the project is located. I was here, I believe, last year in August. So I was here back in August for a similar RDA you see before you today. The previous plan that we had done was The exact same water service connection onto Littleton Road. And instead of the tight tank that we're showing today, we previously had an E1 system sewer manhole located at the same location as the proposed tight tank today, going out to Littleton Road, running parallel to the project site, and hooking up to the E1 system out on Hickory Way. That sewer service connection has ultimately been denied. I guess that's probably the correct term. The long story short of it, we couldn't come to an agreement between DPW as well as Mass DOT in terms of the utility connection access. Ultimately, that led to us having to go back and then do soil testing to prove that the soil condition on site is not suitable for a replacement septic system, thus kind of tossing us to our only option, which is putting in a tight tank. That's the general long story short.
Can you
That's-
explain that tight tank? I don't think I've ever heard the term before. So what exactly is that? What?
Sure. So under Title V, if you have a site that you can hook up into a sewer connection, that a connection is feasible, you are legally required to make that connection. If you can't make that connection under Title V, you're allowed to put a septic system on your lot. To go further than that is that under Title V, you have to do soil testing to prove that you can actually locate a septic system.
Yep.
The problem is when you start digging for to check your soil, when you have a condition where you just have fill or you hit ledge, you don't have 4 feet of naturally occurring pervious material or parent material, you cannot place a septic system into the ground. Therefore, your only option left would be a tight tank. And a tight tank is essentially exactly how it sounds, is a monolithic tank that is water sealed. Your sewage system will dump out into the tank, and you have an alarm set up, visual and audio alarm set up inside, let's say your basement or something, that sets off once it's 3/5 full to let you know that, hey, get somebody out here to pump it out.
Okay.
Yep.
So instead of having the distribution tank with the tank and then the leach field, there's no leach field because you can't leach anything in, so everything stays in the tank.
It stays. Okay. Gotcha. All right. Thank you.
Problem.
Plastic tank?
No, it's a concrete tank.
It's concrete.
It has to be
It's
concrete.
big, right?
5,000 gallon is pretty big. I think the correct sizing should have been 2,000 gallon, but ultimately the owner would like it to make it oversized, just so that the pumping frequency goes from 5 times a year to 3 times a year. So it's much easier on him, and ultimately that's Title V will generally look for less frequency of pumping throughout the year, just because less disturbance, less chance of failure, stuff like that.
Is it above ground or underground?
Underground.
Less disturbance. Disturbance of what exactly? When the pumping's occurring, is it?
I guess so. I'm thinking about a truck backing up and then just pumping into it, and
Okay.
I don't know. I say disturbance, but really it's just truck traffic, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Okay. Okay. That's what I was wondering.
Putting the seal, putting it back on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how often the tank gets pumped is related to how many people.
yeah, ultimately
are
the
putting
use.
water into it, so
Yeah.
it's just a single family or it's just one person, isn't it?
It's one person. So the way that this was sized is according to the historic footprint of the building, actually. Because it used to be a bar at one point, and I think the last time the town actually made an assessment for the property, it was considered a retail space.
Yep.
So we sized it based on the square footage of the retail space, and then kind of transferred it to essentially a 2-bedroom dwelling, like the equivalent of. So 220 gallon per day is what you're looking at for an average daily flow. And again, you're right, that is for, typical family of 3 or 4. In this case here, you have one person who's using it as an office space. So, the use is really going to be very, very limited.
Sure. it's not a residence, is it correct?
No, he's just using it as an office space, that's all.
So I thought last year when you came, I thought that was the idea, that it was going to be used as a residence, like it was actually,
He's sleeping there, I guess you can make that argument.
okay,
Yeah.
all right. And so the tight tank, that takes everything? So if there's a washing machine in there, laundry, right, there's laundry, like
Mhm.
every sort of water?
Yep.
Okay. Wow, there's a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And he doesn't really anticipate on putting in a washer and dryer. I think at the most it's just gonna be like a shower and toilet, that's
Right,
it.
right, okay. Sink, whatever.
One of the questions that I had was, I'm assuming the clean out, it's got one pipe going in and it's got one clean out on the top.
No clean out.
I mean, not a clean out, but well, how
A manhole access. Two actually. So you have one manhole access where the pipe is coming in,
Yep.
and then there's going to be another one on the other side. So if you look at the plan, you'll see the manhole cover right there,
Yep.
the manhole cover right there. So the one coming into where the building sewer is coming in on the lower side, that's where you can pop it open, check it, and then the other one will most likely will be where they access it and then pump it out.
My, my thought was, what happens when it fails? When the alarm fails
When the alarm fails,
and it just keeps getting full to overflowing, where does that go?
so typically the way that tight tank is set up is that you typically get in touch with a septic hauler. You kind of work out a schedule of when they would come out, and then they tend to kind of stick to that schedule.
So you don't have to wait for the alarm, you just stick to a schedule and,
I guess if you go on vacation, you could call them up and tell them, hey, I'm not going to be here from this month to this month, and
Yep.
they wouldn't come out. But generally, if you tell them, like, 3 times a year, they'll work out the schedule. For the most part, if you have a tight tank, you're aware of it. If the alarm fail, obviously there's going to be there should be a fail-safe alarm. I think that's what it's called. When the electricity cuts out, whatever, there should be a light that alerts you that, hey, this alarm's not working. But that's why you have a backup for that. Yeah, and if it does fail, more likely, let's say that one way or another, the owner goes away for a long time. Somebody else comes to live in here, and then they've just been using it for a long time and ignoring the whole tight tank thing. They'll back up into the house.
Yeah.
And
okay, it won't ooze out the.
no, they'll
Okay.
be the first to know.
And if you're looking at the plan, the tight tank seems to be right next to, is it next to the driveway? Yeah,
Yes.
so, I mean, you would smell it if it would ooze out of the top,
Yeah.
coming from someone who
Yeah.
had a septic system that failed in their house, and yeah, you just look in the backyard and go, oh, that looks muddy.
Right.
And that's a regular, so it would do that, but yeah, tight tanks typically, we would back into the house first. If not, it would ooze, and it's right next to your driveway, so you would kinda notice that.
Yeah, things would stop going out of the house, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Basically.
Okay.
Backflow into the toilet and all that.
Right.
yeah, you guys never really deal with septic systems, huh?
What's that?
So you guys never really dealt with septic systems?
Well, I have dealt with a system that failed, had an alarm that failed, so.
Oh, okay.
That's why John's asking.
So working in Littleton for 6.5 years, there was no sewer, so everything that came before conservation was always a septic system.
Yeah, that's why you usually ask for separate circuit for the alarm and all that. So if one fails, you know right away that, oh, this one's not working anymore.
Good enough.
So is the state refusal to let them cross the road with the sewer connection, was that permanent or just for like 5 more years or something like that? Was there?
So that is actually ongoing right at the moment. Previously, when we worked with DPW to reach out to Mass DOT, they were talking about this access connection for both sewer and water. The problem is we couldn't really get through with the sewer, and ultimately that permit got put on hold, that application got put on hold. So now I've spoken with Matt at DPW to kind of revise that application. So now it's going again. Problem is, DOT, they like to take the time. So I don't expect that we'll hear back from him for another month probably. So
That's too bad, huh?
yeah.
Is there a cross-section view of the tight tank at all or anything? No.
Yeah.
It's right on the first page.
Right here.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yep.
Got it. Thank you.
So this tank, I believe, is relatively big. I want to say it was probably a 12 by 15. Pretty big tank. Goes down about 7.25 feet down. But
The tight tanks don't need to have a filter on them either, do they?
no. And
You
these are,
okay to cane? Your
Oh,
filter,
love that.
little vent.
Questions?
When would the work be done?
I'm hoping as soon as we can, now that spring is coming. But we're in the process of trying to get contractor. We just got a couple quotes to do the work. So we're working with DPW right now to kind of sort all that out.
Got anything, George?
So you've confirmed where the existing septic tank is?
Yes, we found the existing septic tank. It is located as shown on the plan there, which is, off the property, unfortunately.
And no, so you don't have any erosion controls around there?
I believe the last time I was here for the RDA, one of the conditions
That was the condition.
we provide erosion control around any work, so including the abandonment.
I
of
just
the-
copied the condition from the previous.
Right.
So I pulled it out. I go, what was the condition on it? I'll just copy it. Oh yeah, okay. I'm just gonna copy that one.
And what was determined with Aho? Like, they've been contacted, so you're going to be on the property there without issue?
We can reach out to them, but I'm not even sure if they're aware that that portion of the system is in their land, unfortunately. If you look at the approximate location of where the septic field is,
Mhm.
so, I'm sure that was put in place a long time ago, and the land got cut up
Yeah.
after the fact. So, what can we really do?
I did double check and see if that's in the CR.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm just concerned, does that, and I don't know if we did not say anything about it last time, but
Yeah.
if we're approving them to, go ahead and do this work, technically on somebody else's property, I don't know if that's really
Yeah, that
fair to
ended
say.
up being in the conservation restriction, that portion. So we'd want
Is
it.
that the restriction side?
Yeah, it includes both sides, so we'd want it out anyway. You wouldn't
Well,
want
yeah,
it.
well, it's not gonna be out, it's just gonna be punctured and filled.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. You'd want it decommissioned and cleaned.
You want to actually
You wouldn't want that
cap it
sitting in
properly. Yeah.
Right, no, that I get, but, okay, so we now own that land, I guess is what I'm
Well, we
getting
will, yeah. We'll get to that.
at. Okay, but we don't own that yet.
No, correct. Well, we
Yep.
we won't own it. It's always going to be owned by Aho. We just hold the restriction.
Okay, so again,
Yes. I will.
We're
I will.
approving
I will
letting
be,
that
I will
happen.
Be, I will be speaking with
Aho.
the Mayor and Aho
Gotcha.
in regards to the conservation restriction. I
Okay.
will let him know of this, just because,
yeah, that's all I'm
just so
concerned
he
about.
knows.
Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna have a problem with it because he also has the dam on that property.
Yeah.
With the beavers dam on it, the flooding where they're not transfer. And he basically just says, doesn't wanna bother with it, so the DPW just goes in there and clears it.
Yeah, no, that's fine, like I said, I just wanna,
But I will let him know. I have to email him tomorrow in here.
okay.
Worst comes to worst, we can always just cut and cap the building sewer. Close to where the building is. Because I pop open that septic tank, it's just filled with dirt. for the most part. I know we still want to try to clean it out as much as we can, but if it's just left there as it is, as it's been for the past probably decade or so.
Did you say you did open it?
I did open it.
Oh, okay.
It's mostly just
Muck and stuff. Figured as much, yeah.
Any other questions, thoughts, Heather?
No, like I said, I drafted the determination, with the same conditions from the previous one.
Any more discussion?
I'm good.
Motion to issue a negative determination, 91 Littleton Road?
With the condition as discussed.
Yes.
Yeah, for the erosion controls,
Mm-hmm.
installed and inspected.
That's all written down, right? Yep. With all those conditions.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passes unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Lima.
And just maybe a quick sidebar, because I was just listening in on the previous discussion about the whole bouldering and
Yeah.
and the CR.
Yeah.
Funny enough, I actually ran into a similar discussion probably a couple of years ago. So bouldering is actually considered recreational use that is permanent inside CR area. I think this was in Worcester when we had this discussion, but ultimately what they figured out is that because it's permitted activity, it should be allowed to continue. But that's, you know,
Yeah, I don't think it's the bouldering that's the issue, it's the
chalk.
alterations.
yeah. In any case.
And some people just don't like chalk.
Anti-chalkers.
Trust me, that was
Chalkers.
that was brought up too because apparently these powder chalk can actually change the pH level of
Yep.
the rock.
It could, if there's enough of it.
Yeah.
The boulder will crack and then the boulder's gone.
It was just one of those things where like I didn't think I would hear about it ever again, and
Here we are. Oh, well, thanks for your input on that. Thank you.
Yes.
That's good to
Good
know.
night.
Yeah, thank you.
Good night.
Thanks.
Funny, isn't it? And they also like clean. I mean, they get in there,
Mm-hmm.
scrub the boulders and get the gunk off and.
Don't need any slime. Slippery slime.
What's that?
The lichen need to be there. I'm sure they have some of their food source for something. Right? Like, anyway, let's move on. We're not gonna. I'm always that person, so I'm just being that person. So the next item on the agenda, the continued RDA for the Keolis and MBTA. They had a conflict, so they asked for another continuation. They did send me, oddly enough, some more information about it. I guess they're actually seeking a positive determination, which when I read through their application was nowhere listed in their narrative. So I was surprised.
Why?
I don't, we'll find out, I guess, the next meeting that they're actually seeking a positive determination. So I don't know, we'll find out. And they did send me their chemical list, so that was nice.
Okay. Didn't we have something before where they wanted to have a positive determination for a particular reason? You remember that, George? No?
Yeah, I don't know. I thought that was weird because I'm like, maybe I missed something in the narrative that they're requesting that. And I was like, no, I read through it again. And I said, with DEP reviewing them now too, I don't know why her comments were like, oh, if the commission gives a negative determination, then they should ask for this. I go, she wouldn't have put that if they had it in the narrative. So whatever. Anyway, it's continued. They'll be, I guess, from what I understand, that's what they're going to be requesting. We'll see what happens next week.
Okay, this is exciting.
Maybe
don't
they're
have to-
getting,
We don't have to vote on the continuation.
No.
maybe they're getting pressure from local folks just around different towns, and they want to say, well, your commission approved it with these conditions, and that's all that we had to do. So, meh. Who knows?
Okie dokie, so we'll move on.
Yeah.
Next item is review of the 2025 bids for invasive plant control on ponds.
Yes. So I have copies of each one. I have three.
Yes, we got three.
Well, no, I got
Oh.
two. I got two, but I got 3 copies of the bids. If any of you want me to hand them out to you, so you can review the scopes. We did get water and wetlands, and we received from Solitude. I opened and reviewed them with Sam today. Water and wetlands came in at, why can I never find it? It was 29,670. And Solitude came in at 34,465. So
What?
Comparable
At 24?
process, procedure,
34,
work?
40.
Oh, 34.
465.
And the other one that was what?
29,670.
Thank
So
you.
winter chicken dinner, Solitude. I mean, Water and Wetlands.
Are they doing exactly the same, or is
Exact same.
Solitude proposing
Nope,
anything
exact
additional?
same. The wetlands, the permitting, Solitude had it at $400 more. The surveying report, they had at a couple $1,000 more.
Like the pre-survey?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the treatments they had is a couple, quite a bit. I'm sorry, their survey was cheaper, but their Sandy Pond treatment, they had at like $6,000. They had, I was like, oh, I was nervous when I have 2, because last year we only got the 1. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh no,
So-
hopefully it's not lower.
So didn't we want, Sandy Pond, didn't we want them to look at the Phragmites?
Phragmites
Is
are
that
gonna be on Pine
something?
Meadow,
Okay.
Pine Meadow Pond.
Wasn't there something extra at Sandy Pond, and maybe
That's
did
always-
Water and Wetlands not price that?
No, Sandy Pond, the only additional things for Sandy Pond, I believe in Flanagan, was in case of the algae bloom again. And that is listed in the additional services as needed, and they both have those. They're not in the core amount, they're in the as needed.
And those would have been what were the
It's
filters?
a,
or something?
it's an additional copper treatment and a copper sulfate for algae, and then and sampling and everything for the algae if there is, that appears.
Well, they had a filter too.
Yeah.
for here.
That's another option.
Yeah, that's what I remember was the filter.
Mhm.
Filter, yeah, but that would be an inlet. You'd have to go at an inlet, so that would have to go either at the culvert between Flanagan and Sandy Pond or at an outfall.
And so,
That was like a treatment to do it if it happened occurringly, to try to filter the water, not to treat the algae once it was in there.
so outside of that, they basically look
Outside of that,
exactly the same.
yep, they're the same list, same things in there, it's just, one came in a little less than $4,000. Yeah, almost $5,000 more.
Could you discern what the reason for Sandy Pond being that much higher? Did they anticipate more
And
applications?
I don't, it says sonar, it has the delinquent treatment, it has one other. It looks like it has one other treatment on there listed, but I don't understand why that would be $6,000.
They weren't trying to do the chemical we can't use, were they?
No, it's not listed on here, but yeah.
Which one's this one?
This
Oh,
is
this is
Solitude,
Solitude.
yeah. But they have, so I mean, I don't know. I wasn't dissecting them too much.
Could be they're reading the fall survey from last treatment and evaluating different needs.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, we would have the summary report was
Yeah, they
posted,
got the
right?
year-end report.
Yeah.
Yeah, they reviewed the year-end report, so I mean, they could have been basing it on the last time they had come and based it on what was in that year-end
That
report,
would
and
be
they
foolish
could have,
on their part.
but you know what I mean? They could have been like, we did this last time, this is
Yeah.
what their report's saying, and they probably did something in the middle, I don't know.
Okay.
That would be my thought, why would we be coming that much higher?
Yeah.
And I know they are coming from further away too, I don't know if that would have anything to do with it too.
Could be. Maybe a little more travel cost.
Look like Water and Wetland is now a subsidiary of some larger company, or Jones, or something like that.
I don't know, they were at, I don't know, I didn't see
Conagra.
Joe at the conference.
Yeah.
I did not
absorbed, huh?
Yeah.
I thought they did a really good job last year.
Yeah, they always seem to do a very good job. Like I said,
Yeah.
we did get the year-end report that Flanagan didn't have any.
I know, I can't believe it.
I can't believe that either. So I'm hoping that maybe if we see that for a couple of years in a row, we can scale back the
Cut
treatment
back,
just so
yeah.
we can go from there and then work.
What a nice thing to tell the town too, huh? At town meeting, it's like, it's working
Yeah.
really well.
No, and once we have some sort of eradication on something, then we can look at whatever we need to do for that bottom and figure that whole scale out and capital budget, I guess, for that.
Water and wetland is now part of the Jones Lake Management family of brands.
Oh, there we go.
Family of what?
Family of brands.
Brands. Huh?
But that, so that came through, so we would have to make that motion.
Official.
Official to go with, award the, contract to, I mean, well, I mean, legally, because we had one, you have to say one's lower, so we, I
Right.
mean, unless there's a pure reason why we wouldn't, and since we've done water and wetlands this entire time, so, last few years, but anyway.
Any other discussion?
How much money did we request? We got more than enough to cover.
I'll get into that after. Well, let's do this and then we'll get into the warrant.
Well, I'm not gonna vote to do it until we
Oh,
actually
so,
know we have the money.
so currently in the warrant, in the leftover from the warrant article from that line item, we have just over 40,000.
Okay.
Then this current warrant, for this town meeting will be, we've lowered it, been requested to lower it from 25 to 20. So that will give us 60, which would then still cover both full contract, depending if it comes around next year.
Right,
But
right.
it would cover those first billing cycles anyway.
Okay.
That's not if we end up for any reason had to use everything in the additional, it wouldn't, but we have other funding, if that comes to be, that we need to do, for next year, we could figure something out.
Okay. Yeah, 'cause it's not right to commit to a payment without actually knowing we have the money.
Correct, and that's why I try to explain that to the town accountant, but unfortunately, because we're crossing fiscal years, it becomes a tricky thing.
It's always been a tricky thing.
So, yeah, it was
But the town accountant should understand that.
Yes, it was a contentious.
You cannot make commitments on your checkbook that you don't have.
But we figured it out and we've settled on it, so that's what we're going with. So as long as, if we have to touch those, we have other line items going forward we can figure out for next spring.
Okay.
Because we're sort of bound by, okay, our town meeting is a certain time of year. To sign a contract earlier than that, and you have to do
Well,
treatments a certain time.
And then there was a question, I'm like, well, do you want me to ask for a contract that is separated into fiscal years? And she's like, I don't know. I go, okay, well, because I can do that, because we don't have a contract, we have a proposal. So that, we might end up getting like a contract that's fiscal year 25 and fiscal, 20, who knows? Yeah, 26, 27, whatever. We'll figure that out, but there's enough money in there along with it, as long as the town awards the presses the warrant for the additional 20 for the pond treatment, that'll give us over 60, which would cover, this year,
2
all of
years.
this year and next year.
Right. Okay. All right.
Good to go? Motion to award the contract for invasive plant control on Sandy Pond, Pine Meadow Pond, and Fletcher's Pond. That's for you, Barry. To Water and Wetlands for the 2025
Treatment season.
treatment season.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passes unanimously.
And we went over the warrant article, so we're all good there. But update, update?
Updates?
Fun thing. So, first of all, and this is just a housekeeping thing, the, Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs, who handles the conservation restrictions, when, Daniel Aho had his attorney submit the CR for Shaker Pond, they kicked back and said, oh, no, you can't submit that yet. We didn't get approval from the town saying everything was all set. And I go, we didn't have any changes. Our town council was fine. The applicant's council was fine. But because they didn't tell them that we were all set before we signed, it wasn't valid.
Wait a minute, I got that confused,
So
because we approved it.
we
right?
approved it, but because nobody told the state that we were all set with it, we couldn't go through and sign it until the state said it was fine, even though there was no changes.
Hmm.
So I have the document again to be signed. We've already voted on it. They won't accept the old signature page, so we have to sign again.
Okay.
So, and I've already told Mr. Roberts here, so we'll go to the select board on Tuesday, so I have to sign again. I apologize for that. I don't, and I sit there and go, well, this is why it takes so long to get a CR, apparently, because like if everyone's all set, then why, okay.
Should we vote to
Have they
re-sign?
returned our signed copy already?
What?
Have they returned our old signed copy? I don't want my signature out there twice for two different documents.
I can ask, which one, Attorney Socket to return it if you'd like.
I think we should.
Should we have had this on the agenda?
It's not a vote because it's just a housekeeping matter.
You already voted.
I voted, it's just one of those things.
They kick it down the road a little further.
I couldn't, when I got that email, I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, we're all fine with it. Oh my gosh,
Well,
like, this
that's
is why
not-
it takes so long, jeez.
That wasn't you, that
Oh.
was. Well, also, they've been in disarray for a few years.
Yes, oh gosh, that was nuts.
Maybe we don't need to restaff.
Hmm?
Maybe we don't need to restaff for them.
So from there, we have, what's next? The woman that did the egg hunt on Pine Meadow
No.
last year would like to do that again. I told her I would mention it to you guys tonight to make sure you had no outstanding issues with it, but I assumed it was fine, but I wanted to just make sure you guys knew.
Not to be too much of a downer, but
Yeah.
in Pine, when you're going towards Autumn Ridge,
Yep.
there's that observatory
Mm-hmm.
spur,
Yep.
and you go off, and you guys this beautiful little thing. You looking out there? The egg that was put on a tree, way far away from the trail. So you had to bushwhack
To get to it?
to get to it.
Yeah.
Right close to the pond too.
Maybe
So-
she wanted you to go to the pond and look out at the pond.
In the pond?
So
It just seemed like it was more.
do you want me to just make the comment that maybe the egg, some of them be easier to find?
Not so
Not
far.
so far off. the
Not so far off trail. Okay. Yeah, I will make that note to keep them closer to trail. But I wanted to make sure we had that. Did the ponds.
I think they had fun. There's no reason not to do it. But,
Yeah.
Are they real eggs?
No.
Oh.
No.
Oh, that'd be a
Who's
gold.
in front of that?
Yeah, gold, wouldn't it? So I'm drafting the notice to go out for residents for the Sustainability Committee to join that. Hopefully that'll be done and posted next week to get to the Select Board for appointments for their second meeting in April, which I believe is April 15th. So if any of you all are interested in joining me on Sustainability Committee, that will be going out for that.
Can you send something to us?
Yeah.
You'll send us that information.
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do that.
Thank you.
I am currently working on an MVP grant. It's due on April 4th for a. It's hard to explain exactly what I'm trying to do. So it's going to be several towns have what they call a pollinator action plan. The city of Somerville has one, Eastham has one, Lincoln has one, and it basically is a how-to guide to convert your lawn or a portion of your lawn, a certain square footage. The one in Somerville will do certain different sizes and densities, whether you do a full-blown meadow or a more native low-mow grass, and they have different ones. So the plan is hopefully to get funding to do similar activity here in Ayer, where we'll create this pollinator type action plan to help get more pollinator areas in town, along with hoping probably we do it this way where we do 2 or 3 sites on town-owned property the first year if it gets awarded, and then that does work and it goes over well, then this apply again for a second year to then go through and actually pay to get the seeds and materials to do it on residents' lawns. That's what I'm hoping to do. And when we do the pilot site, if it does get awarded, have residents come witness that, work on that, so they can take that plan and try it on their own, and then see how that works out before we try to do funding for putting it on people's lawns themselves. So that's what I'm working on. So we're hoping to get letters of recommendations on that.
Do they,
Yeah.
do they fund what is needed to put it on people's lawns?
So that's the hope. So
Oh,
I
okay.
came across this at the Newton Street Festival. A resident who lives on Washington Street asked me about it and said he heard of towns paying people to convert their lawn to meadow. And I was like, what the heck are you talking about? That sounds amazing. How do you do that? So me being just the person I am, I Googled it. And the Middlesex Conservation District got an EPA grant to do just that. And they are doing, I think, I can't remember how many she said they were doing. If it's 20 lawns or 8, maybe 8 lawns in their district, in Middlesex district, so there's none here in Ayer, where they are actually converting 100 square feet of people's lawns to meadow. So I got some information from them. The town of Whatley actually got an MVP grant a year or 2 ago for a similar project, which was just creating wildlife meadows on town property, on cropland, town land, and some other property. So I'm kind of piggybacking on their grant a little bit to try to get the information I need to draft it, because I've never written a grant before. Trying really hard and figure it out. So that more or less is the plan on that, is to try to create basically a pollinator action plan to get more pollinators in town. Then we can look at getting a pollinator designation from the, I gotta figure out where it is. Town of Shirley has one. You basically make they get called a pollinator corridor designation, because they did a project in I think 1 or 2 places in Shirley, and were able to get that designation through Grow Native or something like that through the state. It was a nonprofit organization. So hopefully with this project, if it goes through, we can get that sort of destination here in town as well.
It's a great thing. I mean, it really is a good thing. You're kind of bucking the tide, but that's the way we should be going.
Yeah.
People like their lawns.
So what
It's a
happens?
monoculture, right? It's just this will try to create more biodiversity and
Yeah.
less water and more
Yep.
Oh, I know, it's a bad word now. So that's the plan. So if we could get, so they said the grants are due on April 4th. So I have to try to canvass different organizations for letters of support. So that's what I'm
Happy to edit.
asking for. Yes, I may ask you for edits, for a letter of support from the Conservation Commission for that grant that I'm.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, I did, in the process though of looking up stuff, I did find another organization that their grant's not due until July 31st, and you can get up to $2,500 for this. So I figured if I don't get the MVP, I could at least get a couple, maybe it's 500 or 2,500. So if I could at least get that, then I can at least do what my hope would be as a pilot site on the back of Town Hall here. Because we have a nice big lawn back there, and we could just take part of it out.
Exciting.
So we'll see. We'll see what we can get. So I appreciate that. Next meeting we will have a new application for NOI for there's gonna be a couple house lots, but one right on Grove Pond. It's on Pine Street, but really on the plan it says 3rd Street. So
Oh.
it's a paper road
Yeah.
that they're gonna build out. So just to have that a heads up, there is a question on that about a sewer connection line in the 50-foot no disturb, which is not listed as a allowable exemption. So we'd have to just verify that. I don't think we can allow that process to go through. But well, it's up to here, because it's hard to see on the plans if they're actually into the 50 or not. Oh, the substation is also looking at possible changes on Bishop Road for that. They are looking to, instead of having the septic system on site, have a sewer connection. Matt and Danny and myself are going to meet to discuss that because we're trying to figure out the best way for that sewer line to go through. The plan they submitted for modification showed it in the gravel road way. Matt said he would prefer it to be a more direct, because that doesn't work for the DPW, to have a more direct line to Park Street, but that would have it go directly through the wetland,
Yeah.
which I'm not a fan of, so we have to meet to
It's sewer, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
to discuss how that's going to, how we're gonna make that work.
Yeah.
Well, isn't there's sewer line down Bishop to begin with, isn't there?
Yes, but it's a matter of how the DPW, how it can connect and work for that site along with DPW and then myself. So we're gonna have that discussion probably tomorrow to look at that, but we'll, either way, they're gonna have to come back for an amended, because they have an existing order of conditions. So to add that, if it's anywhere within the buffer, they're gonna have to go through for an amended, and it's gonna be my recommendation to go for an amended order of conditions on that.
Yeah.
Or we could just not require them to put in a toilet.
You know, they already have one on there, so, hey, that'd be my hope too, like, it's just porta potty in the back, I mean, why can't we just do that, but my mom had to deal with it in Verizon and Harvard, but, you know. I don't know, we'll see what we can come up with that, but that's what we had, me and Jess were at the MACC conference on the 1st, that was a fun time.
It was like being in a normal world for a day.
Yes, we tag team and went to different classes and stuff, so that was good.
Nice.
There was one on, from the state, it was Fish and Wildlife and Fish and Game, and they were talking about, creating more biodiversity and limiting of construction and different ways of construction, and we basically, all of us, in like 4 or 5 of us in that thing, were basically like, why are you telling us we already know this? Why aren't you telling planning boards and other departments in the state? Regulatory, like, we can only regulate 100 feet or 200 feet, and we're doing that. You need to tell other departments. And then somebody asked about the new Wetland Protection Act and Stormwater Handbook and why those are still under review and haven't been released yet. And we didn't, we'll pass that along.
Rabbit hole.
So, and then I did one on habitat, and that's where I'm like, those logs, that's a habitat. Why are we?
Yeah.
So, when hearing that about the habitats and stuff like that, when me and Danny go through and look at the OSRD, I'm gonna try to see about trying to add something about adding wildlife habitat along the edges of the open space and the development area to make a more gradual entrance into it instead of just here's a re-ended, there we go. I don't know how well that's gonna go over, but we're gonna try.
Good.
But that was interesting. It's like, I never did a habitat part. And I was like, oh yeah, and there was a workshop tonight for, and I was like, fundamentals. I was like, I can't do any of this.
Yeah.
But next time, because I don't remember ever doing a fundamentals on habitat, so.
Yeah, I went to a couple. One was just updating what are the latest laws in the last year.
Mm-hmm.
That was interesting. Then one was on mitigating cyanobacteria blooms, which outside of the copper treatment, there's an alum treatment. It's sort of new-ish, but that seems to work for ponds that are 30 feet or more deep. We don't have that.
We don't have that.
But it was just nice to learn about a different strategy. And then the other one I went to was, first one was on preserving open space under Article 97, and which is giving me more questions on the Groton-Harvard Road development, which my intention is to go to a few planning board meetings on that and just keep pressing for them to maintain that open space as open space.
Yes. Oh, thank you for that. So
I'm gonna bug them.
with that, just so you know, the comments I submitted to the planning board in regards to that were, one, the stormwater systems cannot be counted towards the open space. So they have those notes. One of the other ones was when you looked at the proposed plan, at the end of one of the hammerhead streets, it had a small gap that was open space, that wasn't it was continuous, but it kind of like jetted out.
Yep.
I requested that not be there and it be more a continuous added onto the other end. And there was a couple other, just, snow storage wasn't shown on the plans. The marking of the large trees within the open space wasn't there. A couple other items like that. So they're in the process of creating responses and or revising the plans per, not just my comments, but everybody else's comments. So just, I know there was the question as far as the stormwater basin, being in the open space, but they're trying to figure that part out right now because it can't be without counting towards it. And then going forward, if there is any concerns with that project and the open space, nothing says the Conservation Commission has to take the open space.
Right.
If we're not comfortable with how it's laid out, if there's easements in there that we don't think are appropriate to be in there, we do not have to hold the open space. It can go to another entity.
So I have a question, because you know how it comes down to Groton Harvard Road on two sides?
2 sides.
And the one on the left side?
Yes.
Does have a driveway easement on
Does
that.
have a driveway easement on it, yep.
So can something like that actually be part of a CR?
It can,
legally?
you just put that in the CR.
Yeah.
So
would we want to?
that's what I'm saying. So if there's at any point in this, if we're looking at it and go, we don't feel, it's not myself, it's the commission as a whole, I have to monitor it or find someone to monitor it. Feel comfortable with how anything looks on any subdivision, any open space. It does not necessarily that the Conservation Commission has to hold it. And I believe one of my comments was to ensure that prior to acceptance of anything, that all of that language is spelled out, all of that is done.
Yeah.
Because to try to come up with that after the approvals is gonna be difficult.
Right, and if they were calculating that 50% open space, were they using something that's already a driveway easement as part of that?
That's a question to figure out when the new plans come back.
Yeah, because that's not a good usage.
Yeah, so it's something if revised plans come back to look at it again and do a new round of comments. The public hearing had been continued to April 8th. I unfortunately will not be able to make the planning board meeting on the 8th.
I will.
You're more than welcome to attend. If you would like me to send you the comments that I had made before that meeting so you can see them, I can do that as well. They will, I'm sure, will be all part of the planning board's packet, on the meeting materials on the planning board's page prior to, because I know DPW had quite a bit of comments as well.
Okay.
Right on top of it, doing our job.
Um,
I'm ignoring one in the background going, trees, the other trees. Trees fell down at Prairie Park.
oh yeah, on that.
I went out and looked at them yesterday. M&M, I guess Tree Service is coming to cut them up and remove them. No trucks will be brought down to the water side. They'll stay in the paved parking area and they'll cut it up and remove it.
Was it the survival? What is it?
The nature woodland parking
yeah.
playground, which is right by the pond. It was a tree that was completely rotted on the inside to the point where there's a hole in the ground where it split and there's just a hole because it was all. And I asked, I go, how are you going to fill that? I'm like, in my opinion, I would just put a snow fencing around it because there's a bunch of insects and stuff because it's obviously we're eating it. But it's at the end of the slide. Which why there was a tree that, why they put it by the tree, I have no idea, but you really can't do that, so you cut it flush, I'm like, but how are you gonna fill that hole? And she's like, maybe, so they're gonna hopefully put rock or something in there, and that would just filter anyway, insects can go around, instead of, and I had mentioned if they were gonna put fill, to make sure make sure it's clean fill, and be careful not to fill from the DPW, because sometimes that's got full of invasives.
Oh, we should put fill in that's got Japanese knotweed so you can continue your project.
No, there's enough still out there. I'm gonna be out there for years pulling it. I'll be out there for years pulling it. I know, yeah. So just in case anyone hears anything about that, then I did go out and look at them because I found out at the department head meeting and go, are the trees by the water? And Sarah's like, oh no, it's by the natural playground. I go, yeah, that's by the water. She's like, oh then yeah, it's by the water. I'm like, okay, well I need to go out and look at them before you have anything taken out. So.
Couldn't they, like, chip some of it up though and just put the chips back in, like the?
I don't know how that's gonna happen, so we want to figure that out. But I
all time.
again, I would have preferred it not to just leave it because it's just a little bit of it's like a 5, 6 foot, like half of a tree sitting there, like stump, like broken, and then a hole. But it's in the middle of like that playground. And it's even to
Yeah, I
fence
mean,
it off would
that's
just be
definitely a danger.
yeah. So they're gonna have to fill it. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm just thinking more on
I promise that's it.
the safety side. It's like, should they just chip it out totally and just,
Yeah.
like you said, I know it's great because the bugs were there, but they've done their damage already.
So many holes in there. They were just eating that thing alive.
Yeah.
It just turned into dust to me.
I had a bunch fall down too,
Yeah.
and you can see it like it's like like you said, like right along the ground line. You know, it's like the ants get in there and they start getting in it, and then the woodpeckers come in and they start, and so I got all these trees that are falling down, just going.
Okay, so I saw on the community page, somebody posted that they'd been walking in Pine Meadow recently
Yes.
and noticing blazes missing, trail maps. We do need to move on like ordering a new kiosk thing.
Yes,
for
I
that.
did email back the scout master, whatever, who asked me about projects, and I did tell him that the kiosks definitely are in desperate need of updating. If someone would like to do that, if any of the scouts are tech savvy enough that can do GPS and create trail maps for us and walk them with their GPS and like trail them, that would be fantastic.
But I'd
Or
love it.
like the iNaturalist app, and then like create like a Pine Meadow one and just start mapping everything out. I don't know what counts as Eagle Scout project or just an Eagle project. That if anyone wanted to do like a tech/nature one, that maybe something like that would be.
But I would love it if we got a really, like the kiosk out here got something really solid that would last for 20 years. And because that's been, was it Marion Stoddard who was saying that a year or two
The
ago?
one that's out there is very sturdy.
But you can't see anything in it.
No, it doesn't have that plastic, but it is a very sturdy one that we could, I mean, as far as what you put on it, if you put like laminated signs on it would be fine, but that one that's out there is good. It's the one inside Pine Meadow that's.
Yeah, but the one that's out, this is the one on Groton Harvard Road?
Yeah.
Yeah, but last I looked at it, everything was faded, you couldn't
Yes,
read
so
it.
it just, the materials on it need to be updated.
Okay.
The sign itself is actually fine.
Okay.
It's just the materials need to be updated.
Could I assume it's just plexiglass that's on there?
I don't even think it's anything on. I don't even think there's plexiglass on there.
Oh.
I think
So
it's just
could
paper.
it be, I guess, upgraded to something that is UV protective so that
Yeah,
put
we
something
could
there
get
once
a
and it's
UV whatever plexiglass to put on and put materials and then cover it.
yeah.
Yes.
That could maybe the refurbishing of it could be an Eagle Scout.
Yeah, that's what I did mention that to them, so I sent that email out this afternoon.
A little bit of drilling and screwing and stuff like that.
I even reply back to them, so I did send that stuff and see what we get back.
Okay, and then this fellow was also saying blazes are either faded or missing trail maps.
Yes.
So he said, he was again referencing, is there a committee or group that handles this? I know back in 2018, it was later than that, I think.
Yeah.
There was a group that was going to address this, but he never heard anything. So I can pass you his name.
Yes, yep.
Or I will actually tell him he could contact you.
Have him contact me.
Got his name there?
Bill Reed.
Have him if you just tell him that there's a lovely woman that works in town hall in the conservation office that would
I'm
gladly
going to
speak with
put
him
that
about
on
it.
the whole site. Yeah. And then
I don't live in town. I don't do. I wouldn't do it anyway. But.
yeah. Did you ever hear back from Robert about on the CRs where we need baseline documentation?
Yes. So I actually had a meeting with Robert today. I'm in the process. I have to draft and hopefully have it done by the beginning of next week. An RFP for the Curly Circle baseline. I do have a couple drafts from other agents that I can piggyback off of to get that done, so we can have, and hopefully have it all, the RFP done and sent out, so we can get everything back in and done this budget season, because I have the money in there for that, so we can get Curly Circle done. Robert was going to reach out to Faith Saunter, who's now in North County Land Trust to try to set up some sort of Zoom meeting with the three of us to discuss moving forward with anything on that end of it.
It'd be nice if we could also get the one baseline going for, the Tooker property that was added on to Pine Meadow.
Yeah, I gotta look all
'Cause-
that up because
Yeah.
when I try to find material, I don't have anything for Tooker property. I can't
Yeah.
go on Registry of Deeds in Google and search it doesn't pop up.
That's because back then we had a agent who was 5 hours a week, I think.
So I
Maybe
know
10.
that's one you guys want to have done,
Well,
but I don't know how to find records for that.
well, the thing is, it was purchased, but because it was purchased with CPC money, it needs a CR on it.
Yeah, I
And I
understand
think
that.
this would be starting completely
But
from scratch.
yeah, but to find how it was purchased, to find quitclaim deeds, I need a name or some sort of address that I can go to the Registry of Deeds for. Because you're just calling it Tooker, like, you know what I mean? It's like someone calling it Fletcher Pond or Flanagan. If I don't have the exact name, it was down under.
It would be the house right in front of it, right?
Hmm?
The house right there by the sheds.
Yeah,
That would be the address.
Okay, when that is, and what address is that?
130.
Is it Oak Ridge?
Yeah.
Oak Ridge,
Okay,
where the sheds are.
all right. If it's Oak Ridge Drive, I can go from that.
That was gonna be my question, then, where did the shed get gone?
We're working on that one still.
And
Working on that one still.
that was
Eventually, I'll get
that
out
was
and
all
actually
for
see
me.
them. Every time I go to, I'm
Yeah.
running in on the other side.
Yeah.
Got anything, George? Nothing. Mark?
Nothing.
Mr. Chair.
Swans are back.
Oh, are they?
Sam told me that she said somebody posted on the community page that there was otters in Flanagan Pond today.
Yeah.
No kidding.
That was Jeff Tillotson.
Yeah, Jeff said that he, so
Yeah.
that was it, that, so otters in
Somebody immediately posted, "Oh,
Flanagan
they're so
Pond.
destructive to ponds and riverways."
Oh, God.
This is coming from a human being.
Allegedly, yeah.
It's AI generators.
Yeah.
Oh, watching that America's thing that Steve was talking about, they had Amazon. Do you know there's such thing as giant river otters that are 6 feet long?
Imagine.
Could you imagine? See,
No.
oh my God.
River rats. River rats.
I was like, that is a big otter. I don't want to see that. That's too big. That's no longer cute. That's scary.
Wow. What if they got big hedgehogs down there?
So cute.
So I think this is on keeping
What kind
the
of
cycle.
hedgehogs around here?
Can send that around.
Oh, look at that.
You guys were mentioning that I must have been flipping through that because I think I saw that little snippet. I thought it was a bobcat,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, going after a white snowshoe hare, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, I can see that.
I watch all those nature shows, and every now and then I learn something new. And I learned that 70% of snakes
That's
lay
cool.
eggs and 30% do live birth. And I'm like, I didn't know.
I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
Wow.
I learned it from watching that show. Tom Hanks taught me that. Because he's like, oh, pregnant copperhead snake. I go, snakes aren't pregnant. So I Googled it. 30% of snakes do live birth.
It's gotta feel weird.
Copperhead being one of them, huh?
Yeah, apparently.
What do you think?
Yeah.
Having them things coming out of you?
Oh yeah, I see. It's so now you all know this too. Share
Huh,
my
Good to
information.
know.
It's
All
not even
right.
Fun Fact Friday yet. Kids not in the movies.
Special.
Mm-hmm.
Any more of anything? Our next meeting is March 27th. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passes unanimously.